This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM. This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
Okay, another story in the news today that everybody is talking about. And it's something that someone actually mentioned on the show the other day in passing. Well, now it has happened because a flight from, I believe it was from Frankfurt to Newark in New York. Is that
That's
where the
right,
flight was from?
yeah.
Newark in New Jersey. So this is a flight from Germany to New Jersey in the States. It's an 8-hour flight. And what happened on the flight?
Here are the edited highlights of that flight, okay? Have a listen to this.
Let's get up, honey. Let me get his iPad and get the Wi-Fi. Sonny, come over here.
Now, I want you to imagine sitting on a plane for 8 hours listening to this. Now, I can't even listen to it for 1 minute, let alone 8 hours. And a man called Shane Townley filmed the unruly youngster as he clambered over seats and screamed on the Lufthansa flight from Germany to New York. Listen to this.
Okay, so it was an 8-hour flight from Germany to the United States. Some of the headlines for this story, by the way, I find quite offensive and quite hurtful.
Well, here's one of the headlines.
They're calling the child a demon, a demonic.
Call an exorcist. A traumatized plane passenger films toddler's 8-hour demonic screaming tantrum on a flight. The guy's name is Shane Townley. He filmed the unruly youngster as he clambered over seats and screamed on the Lufthansa flight. Footage showed the boy yelling and running around the full 8-hour journey. Other passengers could be seen covering their ears and trying to drown out the rebellious toddler. The young boy has a disability which hasn't been specified that affects his behaviour.
Which is why I have the. Well, I'm gonna save my opinion for a minute because I want to hear your opinion on this. What do you think should have been done about this? Okay, so you have an 8-hour flight from Germany to New Jersey in the United States, and from what we believe. Okay, I get it.
Let's get up, honey.
Now I can see even your face. You're making faces that. Oh, jeez, that sound.
Yeah. What should have been done in this situation, and who can you blame for a situation like this? I'd love to hear your opinions on it. I have an opinion on this, and so does Adrian. I'm going to save my opinion for a moment, but I want to hear your opinions. Text us or WhatsApp 087 798 98 98. 087 798 98 98. And what should have happened here, and who was to blame? I think the parents came in for an awful lot of flack here.
Sorry, did you watch the video?
Yes, I did.
The child was running up and down the bloody plane unattended. He was climbing over seats, sitting on the back of seats. Now, he may have some sort of a disability which hasn't been specified. That doesn't allow or condone that sort of behaviours. Climbing over seats, running up and down the plane, don't care what sort of a disability he has. I'm sorry.
Text us now 0877 98 98 98. That's the text or WhatsApp number. What do you think should have been done on this flight? What would you? Well, here's a question. What would you have done if you had been on the flight? Okay, Mr. Adrian. What would you have done?
I would ask to have been. I would firstly have asked to move seat, and if they couldn't move me,
okay, they can move seats. The seats are full. Everybody's.
Well, then I'd ask for the child to be moved to a different seat. Away. You shouldn't have to put up with that for 8 hours. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't believe it happened for 8 hours.
It did. The guy's video was a time-lapse video.
It says here, as the hours passed by, passengers can be seen covering their ears as the unruly child runs up and down the aisles while screaming at the top of his lungs. And it's a scene, we believe, that continues throughout the majority of the flight. Because, in fact, your man videos it again, hour 7, and he puts up a video. And let's hear, Adrian. No, let's hear it there. What noise is it?
Oh, after hour 7, this is what he was doing.
Let's get up, honey.
Now, like I said, I accept that this child may have some sort of a disability, but that does not forgive him running around the plane, climbing on top of seats, and just being left to do it.
I think you're all being very mean. We'll get to your comments now in a second, but I just want to say I think you're all being very mean. No parent wants their child to behave like that on a plane.
She let him. She let him run around the plane.
You don't know what it's like to have a child that's like that.
So you just let him run around the plane, do you?
Text us now, 0877 98 98 98.
Kevin, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Kevin?
Look, Adrian, I totally agree with you. Now, before we go any further, Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, and it won't be the first time if I am. You're the very person complaining about kids running around restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But
you remember saying that? So this is a shuttle going through the sky, right?
I know, but now, Kevin, after
let me finish.
Yeah, go on.
The parents knew of this condition this poor child has, right? And we all sympathise with that. No one wants that to happen, all right? And it's happened. But the parents knew they were going on a long-haul flight. They could have easily have gone to their local doctor, got a slight sedative to calm them down for the journey of the flight. Common sense.
I don't. Are you allowed to give a child a sedative?
Yes, yeah. Depending, we don't know what. Well, of course you are.
Really?
You give a baby Calpol, Nurofen.
Yeah.
They're a sedative. But that's why they're called medics, doctors. They will advise the parents on whether they can or cannot. People get drunk on flights just to get over the fear of flying. Yeah, people take Valium to get over the fear of flying. There's nothing. I'm sure there's something they could have gotten from a local pharmacist or doctor.
No, I'm open to correction here, Kevin, and I don't want to give the wrong information out here. This is if someone wants to correct me, they can. I didn't think it was acceptable to give a child a sedative.
No, I don't know if it is either.
I said go to a doctor.
Yeah, but you can't get a prescription in the middle of a flight.
No. Well, you can go to a doctor and ask them. I'm sure there has to be something. God's sake, the miracle of pharmacies now, or doctors. There has to be something that they can prescribe. Right, if this child is known to have outbursts like this on a regular basis, they knew full well getting on that it was a 50-50 chance whether he'd behave or not.
Well, okay, let me read a message that's just come into us, and it says, my son has autism, and yesterday I had to walk an hour from my mum's home to my house. He had a meltdown the whole way home, screaming, kicking, trying to pull himself out of the pram. Every time I tried to comfort him, he got more aggressive. Every person that passed us kept staring, and I knew they were thinking my child was a disgrace, not understanding his struggle. When we got home, he was a completely different child. I can't live my life in the house all day, every day. I've 2 other children to look after and school runs to do. I cried for an hour when I got home. People not understanding is the toughest thing. It can be so isolated.
Here. I want to say...
Yeah, but hang on. You're not putting them in a shuttle going through the sky, though. That's out in the open. We all seen temper tantrums from kids. We all have. We haven't.
No, Kevin, and this is where the ignorance comes across. And
I'm not being ignorant.
No, you are, Kevin. You are, Kevin, because you don't have a child with. And I'm not talking about a bold child. I'm talking about a child that has clinical. No, listen to me, Kevin.
So, again, Jeremy, I'm going to pull you up on this. Regardless of what this child's issues are, does not forgive a parent allowing the child to run around an airplane unattended. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And I don't care what sort of a disability he has.
They knew full well what the conditions were.
Okay, well, I'd love to speak to a parent who actually has an autistic child or a child with behavioural problems.
If you know, you can prevent it. That's the thing. They knew exactly what his condition is. We don't know what it is, but they knew he had a condition. It was a 50-50 chance whether to go good or bad. They could have done some prevented it.
I just think that
and now it's all over the internet. Yeah. And you were talking about on a radio station. So why would they put themselves through this embarrassment and their child?
Okay, stay there for a second. Gail, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Gail. What did you want to say?
I totally agree that the parents are responsible. It's just a disgrace that they allow their children to act like that on a flight. I've got 4 kids. I've travelled with them on 24-hour flights, and I've never, ever allowed them to act the way that these parents have let their child act. Now, I know you said that the child is not well or has some kind of a disability.
Well, we don't know. We're guessing. Just from looking at the video, it would appear to me that child has behavioural problems, serious behavioural problems.
That's fine, but parents knowing that, get things to entertain your child throughout the flight. excuse me, colouring books, games, something that entertains your child.
Gail, again, that's so condescending.
Well, okay, sorry, can I just state this? If this child has such a chronic issue with travelling on airplanes, then don't travel on airplanes.
Wow, okay.
If it's that bad, if the child is that distressed being on an airplane, then don't bring him on an airplane.
You're very ignorant towards autism, Adrian.
No,
not
at all.
I don't agree with that. Because you don't know the circumstances of the traveling, of them traveling. We can't point fingers at anybody like that. But as the previous guy said, you can go and get a natural sedative. Just to, I'm not telling you to put the kid down to sleep, but to calm the child down, make everybody more relaxed. I just don't think the parents were responsible enough. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Jeremy, give me one reason why the child should have been allowed to run around the plane like that.
No, he shouldn't. But what I'm saying is I don't have a child with behaviour problems, so I don't know how you control a child that is uncontrollable.
Lisa, you're on 98FM. How are you, Lisa?
Hi, Adrian. It's my first time. I'm a bit nervous.
Now, Lisa, it was your message I read out a couple of minutes ago about what happened with your young fella yesterday.
Yeah, it was. And you don't know. See, when people are saying about don't bring them on a flight, you don't know how they're going to react.
Okay, Lisa, can you retell the story there, because I think it'd be better coming from you, because what I found over the last couple of years, and I don't have a child with autism or behavioural issues, but what I found, and I saw this only in the supermarket the other day, Lisa, where there was a child lying on the ground in the middle of Dunn's, and he was lying on the ground and wouldn't get up, and he was screaming and pulling at things, and it was obvious to me that the child had behavioural issues, but the judgment from other people looking at them going, so what happened to you? Talk us through it.
Well, I left my mum's the other day, and he just didn't. I had to bring a pram with me because he just run off on me. I wouldn't be able to control him walking. He just run. So he obviously didn't want to go in the pram. And the whole way home, like an hour walk with a screaming child it feels a lot longer than an hour. So the worse he was getting, I was trying to, comfort him. He was hitting me, pinching me. I went into the shop to grab one thing, and there was this man just staring at him, and I was this close to losing it, because people just don't understand. Like, my own family, till this happened to us, my father even said, like, if I seen a child like that, I just think they're being a bold brat. It makes you open your eyes to things that you probably wouldn't have noticed before.
Now, having a child with autism who's 3, now, your average child at 3 years of age is a little brat. They will try and push you as far as they can go.
So this is like a tantrum multiplied by 100.
Okay, but the one thing I said a minute ago, and people are texting in, you come and live with a child with autism, blah, 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 to understand. Regardless of what condition this young fella has, and by the way, we don't know that he has autism or anything of the sort. We don't know nothing. But I'm sorry for anyone's troubles. Any child, regardless of their condition, should not be allowed to run around an airplane unattended. And these parents just let the child run around the plane, screaming.
Yeah, well, I have mine strapped in now, but they are very strong. Like, he's only 3 and I can barely.
No, I do understand that, but still, you wouldn't sit in your seat while your child ran around the airplane.
But if he was... It's depending on if that child reacted worse when they went after him. I don't know.
And have you had your child on a plane?
No, we're actually going on a holiday next month for the first time, so I'm a bit nervous now listening to this.
And what will you do, Lisa? Judging by the tantrums that your child has, what will you do if you're at 36,000 feet on a plane and your 3-year-old who has autism decides to have one of his meltdowns? What will you do?
Well, I just bring every distraction with me that I can think of that might distract him. And
will you let him hop out of the seat and run around the airplane?
He won't be getting
no, there you go. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
That was poor parenting on their part to allow the child to run around unattended, screaming like that.
Well, a lot bigger and a lot stronger, I'd say, so it might have been a bit tougher for them. But probably an 8-hour flight might be too long as well. I don't know. But my son's a bit smaller, so he definitely wouldn't be coming out of the seat. That's the only thing.
And does it worry you? But I have a friend who has a child with autism as well, Lisa. He's 5 years of age, the child is. And she struggles with a child who has autism, but she always gets nervous when she has her son in situations where if he has a meltdown, it could get embarrassing or it could be awkward.
Yeah,
do you get stressed over that?
Yeah, even going out to a normal everyday things is very hard. I have to psych myself up even before we go. And that morning, if he's not in great form, I'll just have to cancel because I know it won't be worth.
And where's the worst place he's had one of his episodes?
Oh, it's always when we're out somewhere public. I think the noise and a lot of people just get too much for him. And I bring a bag of stuff with me. I call it my bag of tricks to try and keep him. But there's only so much you can do when he gets bored of that then as well.
But again, you will not be allowing him to run around the aeroplane.
I don't know. I wouldn't take him out. I have to keep him strapped at all times because
Yeah.
he would do that. Like he's no speech, so there's no understanding with him whatsoever.
Yeah, you see, that's where a lot of the frustration from kids with autism comes from, Adrian. Is that they can't.
You're talking to me as if I have no idea what autism is.
I don't think you do.
But
a lot of 3-year-olds can communicate. But
don't patronise me and speak down to me like that. I know exactly what autism is. I have family member, a child with autism, so I know exactly what it is.
Of course you do. But what I'm saying is...
Stop patronising me.
What I'm saying is...
Stop patronising me.
I'm not patronising
Craig, you're on 98FM. How are you, Craig?
How you doing, Adrian?
Now, Craig, what did you want to say?
Well, from working in the airline industry previously, the parents of that child should have been able to notify the airline that if the child did have any behavioural issues, so that the airline and the cabin crew would have been able to assist the parents if the child does end up misbehaving on the flight.
But mind you, what would that have done?
It would have gave the cabin crew better notice for all the other passengers on the plane to be able to explain the situation a bit further and give them a bit more reassurance.
Do cabin crew, is there sedatives on board a plane? Well, I assume cabin crew aren't qualified to give somebody a sedative, are they?
I'm not,
no,
I don't think anybody's suggesting the child should be given some injection to be put asleep. My whole argument with this conversation is, whatever condition that child has, the parents did not control him in any way.
They didn't do enough.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't generally disagree with you. And I'm glad the subject came up because it is after bringing up a wider issue and a wider understanding that you, members of the public, have to have towards children when you see children being little brats in public. Yes, a lot of children you see throwing tantrums in supermarkets or in restaurants, they're just bold little pups. But just think for one moment and take a step back before you judge those parents and think for a second, maybe that child has autism. And as I said, I apologise, Adrian, if you thought I was talking down to you. I wasn't talking down to you. But what I'm saying is some 3-year-old children that have autism, Adrian, they have problems communicating. And do you know how frustrating it is for a child?
Okay, let me read. I understand what you're saying. Right, let me just read out one more message. We all sympathise. However, if you've 200 plus people on an aeroplane, you can't just ignore their comfort and allow them to have a stressful flight. You can't overlook this behaviour. The parents should have taken precautions to avoid this happening.
I think that's up to the parents. I mean, should a parent with an autistic child never fly? That's what you're saying.
This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
The voice of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
With Adrian Kennedy.
We're live every morning from 10 on 98FM.